Giannis Antetokounmpo has been a very hot topic recently, and despite talks that he is ready to stay with the Bucks, the actual situation of the Milwaukee team speaks otherwise. Teams around the league are preparing hefty packages for the Greek Freak, but now it seems like a contender from the Western Conference is ready to pursue him in a more aggressive manner. Will the Grizzlies land Giannis in this blockbuster trade? And, more importantly, how would the dynamics of Ja and Giannis work on the court? It seems like the rumors around the league won't calm down when it comes to Giannis's future with the Bucks. Although initial reports stated that he is ready to commit to a long-term relationship and build back the team to a championship-winning contender, that might not be the case. With the aging Lillard suffering from a torn ACL in the first round of this year's playoffs against the Pacers, him missing the entirety of the season next year would be a crucial piece of information that Giannis would decide his future on. There are tons of free agents as well who are yet to be signed, starting with Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis, meaning that the depth of the Bucks bench is going to be brought under severe scrutiny. So, it shouldn't surprise us that the Bucks are constantly in the rumor mill regarding Giannis' future. What comes as a surprise is that the Memphis Grizzlies are now reportedly interested in the services of the Greek Freak. The Western Conference contender faces their own trouble with Ja Morant amid talks that the explosive point guard could see a change of uniforms this offseason as well. So maybe the only way of keeping him is to provide him with a superstar of Giannis' caliber. The question is, what is this trade all about? A blockbuster trade would be centered around Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jaren Jackson Jr. Both of them are superstars, although undoubtedly Giannis has the upper hand in this trade, and Memphis would have to give a lot more to land him. So, apart from Jaren Jackson Jr., the Grizzlies would send Brandon Clark, Zach Edey, Gigi Jackson, and 2 picks, 2027's and 2031's first rounders. It might be a lot to give for a superstar like Giannis, especially considering you're giving 2 picks away, and if this project doesn't work, you're doomed for a long period of time. But Memphis is ready to win now, and in order to do that, they need a bit more consistency on the offensive and the defensive end. Although Jaren Jackson Jr. is a high-profile defender, his efforts on the offensive glass have been more or less questionable, and this is where the team would upgrade the most by bringing Giannis. What's also worth noting is that Milwaukee would have to involve at least one more player with Giannis, and that would be AJ Green. The Grizzlies will get some great replacement for Luke Kennard on a far cheaper deal thanks to AJ, and it would turn them into instant contenders for the championship in the West. We can only imagine how hard the duo of Ja and Giannis would hit on the floor. Both of them are explosive players who can attack the rim fiercely, and if they can work on the perimeter shot as well as the three-point percentage, then Memphis would be a serious threat to be reckoned with. This is why they would be very smart to chase a trade for Giannis, turning themselves into automatic championship contenders out of nowhere. On the other hand, Milwaukee is receiving a great deal for Giannis. They're getting an all-star in Jackson Jr., and with young pieces like Zach Edey and Gigi Jackson, the front office would be very happy to see a rebuilding process with some extraordinary talents coming their way. To round the trade out, the draft compensation might see the Bucks explore the market and fill a hole that Giannis would undoubtedly leave behind him. And a shocking trade proposal was made a couple of days ago when the Celtics decided to put a lot of their superstars on the trade block, including Jaylen Brown. Now that Jason Tatum is injured, the upcoming season is a huge question mark for the 2023-2024 champions. And it could very well mean that they're ready to make some massive moves to prepare for the season Tatum returns. Even though the general belief is that the situation with Tatum is only going to help the narrative of Jaylen Brown's leadership, that might not precisely be the belief of the Celtics front office. A potential package has been prepared on paper if Giannis were to become available, in which a direct swap between Jaylen Brown and Antetokounmpo would happen. Brian Windhorst from ESPN has reported about this matter, and elaborating further on the Celtics' interest in Giannis, he wrote, "I think you have to look at the teams that could make a trade for Giannis that the Bucks would accept, and, on the other side of the trade, would have a contending team. So Boston would be on that list. I think New York would be on that list. There are some difficulties when you talk about apron and second apron teams trying to make trades, and that's a reality. But there are some teams in the Eastern Conference you could construct an ability to get this done. Furthermore, Windhorst said that if Giannis decided to move out of Milwaukee, he would definitely want to remain in the East. But what does New York have to offer? Internal reports state that the team is not very happy with the defensive skill set of Karl-Anthony Towns, and even though they reached the conference finals after a long pause, they got eliminated by the Pacers, and maybe they'd think twice before running it back with the same squad next year. It makes sense for both sides, but the question is whether or not Giannis wants to be traded from Milwaukee. For the first time in his career, he was ready to sit down and look at the offers from the other teams in the league, which is a good indicator that if a solid offer comes along, both he and Milwaukee would be willing to accept it. After all, loyalty isn't everything in the sport if you want to win championships. And the NBA pundits are asking the same question. Will the Bucks pursue a trade that would give Giannis a lot more reasons to stay than what they did back with Lillard? According to Matt Levine of Newsweek, there is a scenario in which the Suns might decide to tank next season, and that would send Durant to the Bucks for the injured Lillard. When addressing this potential shock of a trade that would definitely keep Giannis and the Bucks happy, Levine wrote, "Could the Bucks and Suns shock the NBA world by sending Durant to pair with Giannis Antetokounmpo? This is a deal that probably wouldn't happen, but what if Phoenix decided to tank for a season? The teams could swap Durant for Damian Lillard, giving the Bucks two of the best scorers that the league has to offer. Lillard could take next season to rehab, and the Suns would then have him in the final year of his contract. But the problem here is the potential that the Bucks have in this trade, or more precisely, the lack of it. They are not possessing a lot of draft picks, and what they can offer is their own 2031 first-round draft pick, plus a pair of second-round picks in 2025 and 2031. It's definitely not going to be enough for Durant, who, although in his 36th year of his life, is still a predator on the court and could definitely make a huge impact on a team's championship ambitions. A lot of other teams will try their bid to land Giannis, but everything starts from the mindset that both the Greek Freak and the front office of the Bucks have. If they decide to work out a deal, every try will be unfruitful. But if the team sees an opportunity to rebuild and kind of sees past Giannis's dominance, it could be a game changer for the entire league. With all this in mind, which team do you think would be the best landing spot for Giannis if he decides to leave? And more importantly, do you think he is as good as gone from the Bucks? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that appears on your screen right now.